In the last 3 weeks, on just one of our Snapchat shows, we've done $68,000 in revenue. FYI, we started this about 3 weeks ago. So, literally in less than a month, we've done $68,000 in revenue. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be doing any gatekeeping. I'm not here to sell you a course. In the last year, I've made about $950,000 in pure profit. Now, of course, that's not counting tax and all of that stuff, but obviously that's completely irrelevant in what we're talking about today. Now, from 2021 to 2025, I've made over $3.2 million at the age of 19. And effort, here's exactly how I did it. No gatekeeping. This video is going to be a little bit more business related and fundamentally business related than most of my other videos. That really goes into content generation and everything as a whole. This is more so setting up the foundation and how you personally can generate generational wealth for your entire family and for yourself. I know it sounds unrealistic, but I really want you guys to keep an open mind when going into this video and really understand that making $10,000 a month in today's day and age through the use of AI automation and even just content creation as a whole is very, very feasible. So strap right in. Let's get into it. Now, to start things off, showing all of my revenue, and I mean everything. Now, no gatekeeping at all. What we're going to go ahead and do is head over to Snapchat. Now, as you guys can see, publish.snapchat.com. This is the real website. This is one of our news shows. Essentially, what we post is like news content from all around the world. Now, I know it's a little bit brain rot. We cover Sophie Rain, all of these other big OF creators and just creators in general, Aiden Ross, Andrew Tate, every single person. Now, if we head to revenue on this show specifically, it doesn't do much anymore. I'm going to be completely transparent. As I said, no gatekeeping. This show specifically does about $13,000 a month nowadays. It's very, very bad. You know, still oftentimes does have about $2,000 days, but this is where it gets insane. If we go back even just 5 months to about May 2024, it was doing a lot more. You guys can see $109,000 in 2 months, but if we go back just a little bit more to about November to September in 2023, we did $256,000. Now, I want you guys to be aware that this is not the only show we have. We have about 11 of these. So once again, we have this show we just started recently doing about $70,000 a month. And once again, it's only been up for about 3 weeks. So for all I know, it could do a lot more in the next few months, but I'm just showing you exactly what it's done up until now. Now we have another show right here. This essentially revolves around gym content. As you guys can see, in the last month, it's done about $10,000. We recently took over and started reviving it, so it's doing about $1,000 a day. Then obviously, once again, we have this show. If we go to one of our nail shows, which is essentially those compilations you might see of just simply satisfying nails, and FYI, this show is one of the most insane ones that we do have. So the nail show is doing about $12,000 a month, but the difference between this one and the other one is that this one has essentially 100% profit margins because we literally just take compilations of people clipping their nails and put it into one of our Snapchat shows. Now, this one's done about $40,000 in the last 2 months, but once again, as is the default with most of our shows, if we go back to last year, we did in just 2 months on this nail show, $170,000. Now, as you guys can see, I know a lot of you, not the majority, but some, haters here and there are going to be like, it's Inspect Elemented. Oh, you're such a capper. You're such a liar. You're just here to sell us a course. I'm not here to sell you a course. I have a one-on-one mentorship where I train people to make 20K a month, but that's completely different. This is unfiltered. I want you to be aware, and I know that it is a very big thing where people live in denial and live in la la land, where they tell themselves that every guru they see online is completely full of shit. Now, I 100% understand where you're coming from, but you have to understand that the money that I'm showing you now is out there. People are doing this, and you really need to remove and neglect that thought from your mind in general that this is impossible to do, because it really isn't, and you're simply lying to yourself. Here's another one of our shows. Now, once again, completely different show to everything I've showed you thus far. $22,000 this month. You guys can see it's doing $1,600 days here and there. Has dropped down a little bit to about $534 a day, so it's nowhere near as good as it was about last week. But this is, moving on now, the most important thing. I've showed you the revenue. I've showed you that I'm not full of shit, and you can trust what I'm saying. So don't just take everything I say with a grain of salt. Really digest it, really understand what I'm telling you, because this is the foundation of exactly how I did this, and how if I had this in the past when I first started, I would have done well over $3 million. I would have done upwards of 10, I would honestly like to say. Now, choosing a platform and sticking with it. What this means is I see a lot of people, and this isn't just you, I know a lot of people might have this problem where they're like, yo, I've been doing TikTok Creativity Fund, but now I want to get into YouTube. you need to stick with one platform. Now, FYI, I would not recommend TikTok. It's so inconsistent, they'll just shadow ban your account, and there's no longevity or long-term success with TikTok themselves. Now, yes, people do make money off TikTok Shop. Do not get me wrong, but what I'm really trying to emphasize is that you need to commit to something that has proof of concept and has longevity. As I say to everyone, I think YouTube personally has the most longevity. That's where I'm making most of my money. Yes, I have showed you Snapchat because I show YouTube in every single video. This is one of my secondary income sources that still makes me over 100K a month. Now, what I mean by choosing a platform and sticking with it is if you choose YouTube, stick with it. Don't drift between TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, all of this crap. One, Instagram will never make you money. TikTok is shit. YouTube and Snapchat are really the only two options, and it's honestly a no-brainer. So when you're starting, digest the social media you are looking to start. If you're doing YouTube, learn everything there is to know about YouTube specifically. Do not drift. Do not get half information from different platforms. Stick with one. Now, committing and building up the foundation. Now, obviously, this is a little bit down the line, but it's something that I actually struggled with when I first started. Right before I made my first $1 million, I was really handling everything myself. I was, working directly with editors. I was kind of doing the scripts myself to an extent. I was doing the voice acting myself, and that is just not long term. It's not scalable because essentially once you reach a certain quota, for example, this show that's doing $22,000 a month, I would not have been able to scale this if I did not have a team. That is the honest answer, and that's truthful. If I filter this by the last, month and a half, it's probably done about $30-something thousand, but let me go ahead and just filter that so you guys can see exactly what I mean. Let's filter it right here. You guys can see it's done about $40,000 and is only going up. I'm telling you now, had I have not had an efficient team to work on this show, I would not have scaled it. And it's simply because you as one person do not have the capabilities to have your brain work on something to a very high quality and a good enough representation 24/7 to a large scale of channels. Yes, if you are doing one, you can get away with it. But inevitably, once you're doing over $10,000 a month, you really need to start branching out and think about the long term. You have to think to yourself, do I really want to wake up every day and have to commit to this? And the answer is no. You don't want any stress. You want your main job to be overseeing all operations. So this doesn't matter if you're doing YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever it might be. Once again, I don't recommend Instagram, but if you are doing it, you need a team, and this doesn't matter for any industry you're in. You need to set up a foundation, whether it's a Discord community, Slack community, where you have a team that operates and does everything simultaneously, all in one community at a single time. Once again, one thing I want to add is that you have a point of contact where everyone is in that one community where you can simply send an announcement and the entire team and workflow gets that announcement, which they can then utilize and, implement that into what they're actually working on. Now, guys, as I said, I'm being 100% not gatekeeping and telling you my flaws. This was arguably my biggest flaw in my entire life, and it probably cost me about $1 million. Now, that is organization and keeping track. Now, this is my biggest flaw. I want you to be aware, and I don't want to gatekeep, and I want you to know what I've struggled with personally, and that is organization. From the get-go, from school, from everything, I've always been a very lazy and unorganized person, right? Yes, I have made money, but I still have that issue with myself where I'm very unorganized. I kind of wing everything. I don't really have documents set up, and that was really my biggest issue. Up until like $1 million in revenue, I didn't have any spreadsheets going over all my teams, all my expenses, my taxes. I had nothing. Once I really started making money, it clicked in my head. I'm like, okay, shit, I really have to get onto this now. I can't keep being delayed. I can't keep procrastinating. And that's what I want you guys to be aware of. When you're starting, have all of the foundation all set up prior to starting or when you're just getting started. What I mean by that is having your entire team on a spreadsheet with their expenses, their jobs, have a folder where they upload, have everything organized so you're never unorganized. And I know it sounds cliche, I know it sounds corny, but this is honestly the truth, and it's something that I've struggled with even to this day. I am still very unorganized. I do things as they go. I don't kind of organize and get stuff done prior to actually starting. Now, expanding upon pre-existing working topics. Now, going back to Snapchat, this is a bit of an example, right? That show that I was showing you before that did 300K in 2 months, we saw that that was working. Now, this is a completely different show, right? But that show that I was kind of presenting was in the news niche. So essentially, Aiden Ross, OF, stuff like that. Now, this was one of the other shows we ran. You can see it does nothing anymore, but that's because it is simply banned. If we go back to about what I was showing you previously, October 2023 all the way to August 2023, look at this. In 2 months, literally 2 months, we did $1,000 in revenue at about 50% profit margins. Now, you might be saying, well, why are you showing me this? The reason I'm trying to show you this is because you need to understand that the reason we started this second show was because we saw the original in that specific niche performing so well. What I'm trying to get at, and what I'm really nailing on the head right now, is that when you see a working concept, continue that exact concept that you know is working, but simply change it a little bit and keep expanding upon what you know works. This is the biggest thing. Why do you think so many massive agencies in the world continue to replicate, and even movies? This is a very good example. Look at movies and blockbuster hits. When they perform well, for example, Moana or Kung Fu Panda, they make sequels. Why do they do that? Because they know that the pre-existing audience exists, and if it worked the first time, it's more than likely going to work on the second time. Now, I made that analogy up off the top of my head, but I think that really sits well in what point I'm really trying to get across right now. So when we saw that it was working with $250,000 in like 2 months, we replicated it on a different show, and FYI, we did this on about 5 shows. We made $300,000 the next month. FYI, we had about 5 of these at once, all doing this amount of revenue, so it really starts to kind of comprehend how much value this has, and had I have known this, I would have replicated this exact same style previously. It just simply wasn't ingrained in my head. I was seeing the revenue. I was so content with seeing that amount of money that I had never seen myself. Like, look at this. Even some days, we did $12,500 in revenue. Let me go ahead and refresh so you guys know I'm not like inspecting Element or some bullshit like that. I know a lot of people like to say that because they're in denial, but there you go. Once again, $12,500 in a single day across 5 different shows. This is only one of them. Now, this is also one more thing that I sort of struggle with, and the final part that I really want to talk about. Once again, this is not a content creation video, really. This is teaching you the business foundations and the foundational skills that business school won't teach you, and you'll have to work. You have to pay them $100K for a 3-year degree where you won't even learn what I'm about to tell you. Next thing, optimizing profit margins. What this means is organizing, let's say you have editors, for example, or you have scriptwriters or voice actors. Organize it in bulk. What I mean by that is, let's say you're paying $30 a video for your edit. It's not good long term because you can negotiate those people down a lot more based on volume, based on success, based on longevity, for example. If we have a channel doing X amount of money, whether it's $10,000 a month, and our expenses is about $2,000 a month, we're operating on 80% margins, which is not bad by any means. But when you think about that at scale, let's say we had 10 of those channels all operating, that margin starts to add up. If we're doing 100K, we're now paying $20,000 every single month in expenses that we really shouldn't be paying. So what you can do is, let's say your margins are 80%. You can negotiate with said editors, with voice actors, with scriptwriters. Be like, hey, I'm looking to do bulk. This is a very long-term position. Can I pay you a larger amount, but obviously for more videos? So let's say you currently pay $30 for a video and you're doing 30 videos a month. That's $900. Be like, hey, what if we organize a deal where I pay you in advance for 30 videos? Rather than 900, let's do 600. Now, why am I telling you this? Because when you're making these small little optimizations here and there, what it's going to do is actually increase your margins very substantially when you execute this at a scale larger than just one channel. Now, I'm sure you guys understand where I'm getting at with that. But yes, next thing, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to join my private community, get channel reviews for completely free, ask for help, I'm always here. Go ahead and join discord.gg/1%. Obviously, I'm never going to sell a course, but I do have a private one-on-one mentoring where I personally scale you to $20,000 a month through the use of YouTube automation. I work directly with you. If you guys are interested in that, it's blakeryan.co. I can't approve everyone, but go ahead and just apply. If you seem like a good fit, we'll reach out. But yes, guys, best of luck. I hope you learned something new. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.